So, Battlefield 5, you clicked on the title, you want my impressions of the beta, and I'd hate to disappoint you because a lot of people I think will be expecting me to dislike it, purely because it's Battlefield and everyone's hating on Battlefield 5 this year, but I didn't mind it. It wasn't the best beta I've ever played by any means, but guess what? I actually had fun. Hold up, Future Scarecrow butting in here just to say a few things before the video actually really kicks off. If you guys would like a much more comprehensive video from someone that actually knows Battlefield and knows what they're talking about, then I'm going to leave a video linked in the description below by a buddy of mine, the One Broom, who goes much more in depth with this kind of thing, and he's much more of a Battlefield fan than I am. This is more of just a casual look at Battlefield 5 and stuff like that from my point of view. If you guys like this video, then you would for sure like his video and his channel. So yeah, just thought I'd throw that out there, guys. I love you all. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and peace. Let's add a little asterisk to that, to me liking it, of course. I'm gonna go into detail a little bit over the flaws, because I did have a lot of issues with the beta. A lot more than I actually thought I was going to have, and a lot more of them are technical bugs and glitches, but you know, it's kind of hard to judge a beta based on that. But I thought I'd throw these out there, and then some actual fundamental flaws with the overall game itself, not just how I felt about it. So first of all, the gameplay, the big one. How does it actually feel to play the game? This is by far Battlefield 5's biggest selling point. And I'm happy to report that the overall gameplay is actually really, really good. That's what's actually kept me coming back to the beta. I played it for 3 days, probably put about 7 or 8 hours into the beta. And yeah, the gameplay was definitely the strongest part of it. I don't know why it hooked me so much this year compared to previous years. I've never been a very big Battlefield player at all. Actually, I've played Battlefield 4, I played Battlefield 3, a little bit of Battlefield 2, and some of Battlefield 1. I haven't played Hardline, but yeah, I've tried most of the Battlefields, and personally, it's never really grabbed me that much. And the fact that Battlefield 5 this year kind of hooks me a little bit is probably a bad sign, to be honest, because I'm about as Battlefield casual as it comes. I enjoy the setting and I like the idea of Battlefield, but somewhere in amongst liking the setting and actually playing the game, I kind of just get lost and a little bit bored, to be honest. I bought Battlefield 4 a couple years ago, installed it, tried to play it a couple times, and did for about a week, but I just kind of lost interest in it, to be honest. I don't know why, I can't really explain it, and a lot of people will probably judge me for that because it's considered to be the pinnacle of modern shooters, but I don't know, I just looked at the sheer amount of guns that there are and the sheer amount of content and maps, and just, I don't know, a part of me inside kind of yawned. Something about it didn't really grab me in the way that other games have. And if you like Battlefield, I'm not dissing you or anything like that, that's great. You know, I agree that technically it is a really good game, and a lot of people have had a lot of fun with the Battlefield franchise, but this year it just seems like Battlefield is in a world of controversy, and it's up ship creek without any form of paddle, nor even a boat, to be honest. And it kind of keeps digging itself deeper and deeper. And a lot of people have kind of jumped on the bandwagon of hating it, which is actually hilarious, because a couple years ago it was actually the other way around, where Call of Duty was getting so much undeserved hate and everyone was on that bandwagon, and now they've kind of just like switched franchises conveniently. And this year Black Ops 4 is all the rage with this blackout mode, and it's great and it's innovative and everybody's looking forward to it, and Battlefield 5 is just like same old boring and nobody wants it. But yeah, back to the gameplay. It is certainly very smooth. I had some really nice snap moments in the game, some really cool plays, and it is very satisfying to pull off a good play in the game. There were some annoyances, of course, like nobody likes getting sniped from halfway across the map from some guy you can't see, and a lot of the times I feel like some of my bullets just weren't registering on people when they should have been. There are some moments where I shot through some people and stuff like that, but other than that, yeah, the gameplay was really smooth, and as a FPS fan and a lover of most Twitch shooters, I can safely say that even as a casual Battlefield fan, there is a lot to like here in just terms of the gameplay. Moving on to the performance, I'd like to say the performance of the Battlefield 5 beta was decent. I don't know really what I was expecting, but I don't know, it definitely wasn't amazing by any means, but I hesitate to criticize it for bad performance because I know it varies. A couple of my friends ran it on a lot of higher settings, and I did have no troubles, and a couple people really kind of struggle with performance, so I don't know. It is DICE, and DICE generally handles performance quite well. I ran the game around 90 to 120 FPS, which is a mixture of high to medium to ultra settings. I kind of had to tweak it a little bit, but I don't know, the performance can always be tweaked, and I'd like to think that the drivers will be more updated and generally just the performance will be better on launch. So I'd say that the performance for the Battlefield 5 beta was decent. I never really found myself cursing the FPS or struggling to, you know, maintain a constant frame rate. And the game looks really, really amazing too. Really on even a mixture of medium to high settings, the game, since it's a DICE game, their games always look amazing. The lighting effects and the level of technical prowess in terms of all the different technologies that combine to make these amazing huge maps really is stellar and top notch as always. And I imagine as more people play it on the full release of the game and have their new RTX 2080s and stuff like that, that the game will look even more amazing with all their new technology that they're implementing with those cards and stuff, because I know that Battlefield 5 this year has some new technologies they're really looking to show off. So yeah, I can imagine that this game will look and run pretty damn good by the time the final release comes around. The audio in the game was really good, but I did find myself kind of comparing it to Call of Duty World War II, for example, finding that it actually came up quite short in some ways, which I was really surprised about. For me, Call of Duty World War II is the new one to beat in terms of game audio. Something about the way the weapon sounds in that game, the way that everything kind of clicks and crunches and booms, it really, really appealed to me. It was by far one of the things I enjoyed the most about that game, even if I lost interest in the actual overall game itself. Every time I came back to it, the audio was something that I always found myself just stopping and listening to, just the reloading and clicks of things. And Battlefield 5 in comparison, I don't know, like the way that the menus are laid out in terms of audio didn't really appeal to me that much. Like in-game sounds were good, definitely, but I don't know, just I love it when games have a real like sense of weight to everything that you do, and Battlefield 5's, I don't know, just kind of lacked a little bit for me. And that's probably about where the positives stop for me. Like I said, there is some stuff that I'd like to mention that really dragged the beta down for me and made for some rather unpleasant times, and some systems why I think that Battlefield 5 is kind of doomed to fail in a lot of ways. I don't think it's going to have very long legs compared to previous Battlefield games that have really kept you engaged with quality content. I feel like this game really needs to bring the content on release, otherwise it's really going to suffer and we're going to have another Star Wars Battlefront 2 on our hands. The first thing I'd like to mention is the upgrade system and the way that the guns and classes are handled in the game. And in my opinion, this is handled really, really, really poorly. Basically, the way that you unlock items and customize your weapons in the game is you earn credits by playing games, by unlocking achievements, and basically doing in-game things. These grant you in-game currency, which you then use to buy upgrades once you've leveled up a weapon. This I really, really hated, because it takes away the very thing that Battlefield has always impressed me with, and that is gun customization. For example, Battlefield 4, that game is just overflowing with so much content, and so many of the guns that were there on launch. It had a crazy amount of weapons on launch, and all of those came with different attachments that did different things, and so there was just such a deep learning curve and so much to really invest in. Even if it didn't interest me personally, I always appreciated that. And in this, you've basically replaced all weapon customization with buying basically a couple upgrades, and they're not visual upgrades. You can't see anything change on the weapon. They just on in-game things like basically shoot your bullets faster, which this astounded me when I first heard it. When I first played the game, I was wondering why a lot of bullets weren't connecting at range, and then I unlocked this attachment, put it on, I'm like, ah, so this is basically how it's supposed to be. They took everything that you like about a Twitch shooter or any FPS in general, slowed down the bullets so it's really hard to hit targets at a range if they're moving, and made that an upgrade? Wait, what? Like, if someone had to explain this to me beforehand, that you actually unlock bullets that move faster so you can hit targets better, I would have slapped him in the face and said, you're dreaming, that sounds like the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. It actually is a thing, so don't even ask me how that works, but apparently it is an upgrade and it makes quite a big difference in game. For example, the next one is stock, like move faster while aiming down sights, aim down sights faster. They've kind of, it's almost like a perk system from Call of Duty that they've upgraded, and a lot of people said that this is really dumbing down the Battlefield experience, and I can't help but agree in this regard, really, because they've taken out all of the customization that a lot of people enjoy from previous years, like adding a flashlight, adding different kinds of grips and sights and different magazines, so many different things from previous years that have set the bar for what customization should be in a game, and replaced it with just some upgrades. and that's basically it. It's quite similar to Star Wars Battlefront 2, where your only real customization of the game was applying different cards to your classes. This is just selecting between two different paths in terms of upgrades, and really, whoop-de-doo, that's going to get pretty boring pretty quickly. I mean, I like being able to customize weapons and try and get different attachment styles and try and get different attachment combinations, and in this game it's just like, well, I either go to the left and I go to the right, and that's your customization for your weapons. So the customization is definitely not going to be the thing that sticks me around this year. The next thing is actually the in-game menus and UI. It is actually handled really poorly for a DICE game. Really, it sucks. You have to go into not your armory, but an entirely separate page to unlock these customization items as well, to unlock attachments and go through your weapon customization. It's not in your armory like everything should be. I feel like everything should just be consolidated, but it's not. It's an entirely separate tab. It's really handled quite poorly, to be honest. And the fact that there's a whole tab basically just devoted to applying in-game cosmetics, so different paint skins and stuff like that. I'm really afraid that there's going to be some monetization creeping in here, because that's really what it's smelling like to me. I don't know what promises DICE have made in terms of that, but seeing this entire page just dedicated to skins and cosmetics and sprays of guns, it was kind of making me a little bit nervous. I didn't really stick around in that page too much. Thank goodness they don't push it on you a whole awful lot, but I don't know, it seemed kind of off to me having an entire tab devoted to that. There was a plethora of in-game glitches that I came across, whether it be ragdolls from people just completely spazzing out, or whether it be myself getting stuck in locations of the map. To me, it was really weird, because in a Battlefield game, I've never struggled to move. Like, I've never struggled to move around the map, but in this game, I was getting caught on every chair, bench, destroyed bit of rubble, crevice, crack in the map I could find. I'd be running in a straight line, I'd hit in something that I thought wasn't there, look down and there's this little tiny pebble on the floor that's completely stopping my entire progress. Or if I'm in an urban area or a building that's been destroyed, I feel like I'd clamber over every single little bit of rubble there was in the building. For some reason, the new movement system that they've implemented into the game, which allows, you know, slides and all this fancy stuff, just sucks. I felt myself getting stuck in so many gunfights in different locations around the map and just going, right, okay, this sucks. I have to, everywhere I'm going, auto-mantling stuff. And the amount of times I've died while auto-mantling reminds me of Black Ops 3. And that system was terrible in that game. I felt like every time I went near anything that was above knee height, I mantled it no matter what I was trying to do. And this game's just as bad. I don't know why. I've never had that trouble. I've never had that problem in any other Battlefield game before. But in this game, I completely struggled with it. And it came up so much more than I was expecting, and really managed to annoy me in a lot of instances. Not to mention, I came across a bug that happened more than once. It actually happened to me a couple times, where for some reason, if you die and then get revived, but you revived at the same time you die, you go into this limbo where you can't spawn because your body is still sitting there, but you can't control it, and you're in the loadout screen, but you can't do anything. I was playing a game where I was doing really well. My squad was on top of the leaderboard. We were actually doing really well as a squad, rolling around the map, capturing objective points, and we were on to win. We were winning by at least 150 tickets. And then I got this glitch where I was revived, but I was dead, and I couldn't spawn in. I couldn't do absolutely anything. And my team lost. We completely blew a 150 ticket lead because we lost all momentum. My squad, I don't mean to brag, but my squad was kind of like leading the charge in a lot of areas, and we just completely lost. I was so annoyed. Really, I was, and it happened to me twice. You just get completely stuck. You cannot spawn in until someone kills your body, except on the second instance, someone did kill my body, except it was giving me an option to bleed out or wait for revive, but it wasn't giving me that option. I couldn't do anything about it, so I was just stuck in limbo, watching the game from on high, and I could do nothing, and eventually I just had to quit and take the loss. Hopefully they fixed that glitch for release, but again, there was a plethora of in-game bugs and glitches that kind of annoyed me a little bit. And it also seemed like a lot of things weren't explained. Like, it took me 3/4 of the beta to figure out how to call in tanks and stuff like that. I spent so long trying to figure out which button it was to call in tanks and stuff like that, and I couldn't figure it out because none of the in-game prompts or anything actually told me. And this is probably more on my part, but eventually on the last day of the beta, I was spamming my keyboard and I pressed B and a little pop-up menu came up, and I was like, ah, this is where you call in stuff. I don't know, just something about that system was never explained to me, and maybe it's in previous Battlefield games and I've just totally missed it, but people were calling in V2 rockets and stuff, and I could could not figure out for the life of me how to do it. Eventually I figured it out, and by then it was kind of a bit too late. It was a little bit annoying, probably more on my part than the game's part for me not paying attention, but yeah, one of the small details. And I'd like to point out too that the V2 rocket was really glitchy. When I was playing on Rotterdam, there were many instances where I thought I was in range of the V2 rocket and it didn't kill me, and other times where I thought I was out of range of the V2 rocket, it did kill me. Other times where I was on D, if you guys know what I'm talking about, D is a pretty hot spot when it comes to the Rotterdam map. It's right in the corner and it seems like it's always being taken by someone. Basically, my team dropped a V2 rocket in the middle of that entire courtyard, and I was like, right, okay, I'm gonna go in and take D. As soon as I walked in there was a guy still walking around while everything was still exploding. He was in the middle of it, right where the V2 rocket had landed. He somehow survived it, and he was just killed me because I didn't expect anyone to be there. And I was just like, right, okay, well, this thing, it just sucks. I don't know whether you're protected by V2 rockets if you're hiding underneath any form of rubble, but I don't know, it just seems really selective and glitchy as a streak, and that's kind of what it reminded me of, a score streak, but a bit of an unreliable one, and it certainly cost a lot of points. In terms of maps, a lot of people seem to really dislike the snow map, which I could see why, but on the other side, I never really have any super negative experience with it. To me, although there was one thing that I found super annoying about that map, since I couldn't figure out how to call in a lot of things, is that the planes on those map and they're freaking bombers. The amount of times where you're just on B or on one with the points and these things are just flying overhead, bombing the crap out of you, and there's no real anti-aircraft things on the map that I could find. I tried using some of the other turrets and 40, like the huge cannons, but they weren't really effective at taking down planes. I wasn't sure the best way to deal with those, and you have a Panzer Force on one of your classes, but again, trying to hit a plane that's moving at quite a considerable speed while you're using just a dumb rocket, so to speak, is literally impossible. So I spent that entire time just getting blown to hell because these people would get in planes and just fly around the entire time, just bombing the crap out of you. And since I couldn't figure out how to spawn planes for my team or anything like that, you know, that was a little bit annoying. But back to the map, the snow map, I don't know, I didn't really, you know, there wasn't any moments where I found like the map was completely unbalanced, but there wasn't any moments really where I felt the map was, oh my god, I love this map. I found that Rotterdam was a much more fun experience just in terms of moving between points and capturing flags. I think an urban setting is much more of a fun gameplay experience than a open map the size of Texas. Another thing I'd like to mention too is that when you die, I feel like the game doesn't give you a very clear indication of where you die from. It gives you a name and then a vague direction and a small red glowing thing, and that kind of really annoyed me. The amount of times I died to someone I didn't know where from, and therefore couldn't get any form of revenge because I had no idea where I died from. Like, if I get sniped from halfway across the map, I want to know where the sniper is so I can go and kill him, or at least have some idea so I can avoid that general spot. I feel like that system could be improved a lot too. So yeah, my experience with the beta was that the gameplay is really fun, but there are so many systems, or lack of systems, or dumbed down systems, or things that I didn't like about it that can definitely drag the game down. And I feel like if I played it for an extended period of time, I would quickly lose interest just because of the fact that the gameplay cannot carry the entire thing. There needs to be some form of deeper customization or things to work towards, and aside from leveling up guns and that's about it, finding the best combination or left or right path for your gun, that's about it. And I don't know, I see that as a very short-sighted system that's definitely not going to last very long. So yeah, anyway guys, if you played the beta, what did you think about it? Let me know down in the comment section below. Are you looking forward to Battlefield 5 this year? Are you not looking forward to Battlefield 5 this year? Let me know down there, all in the comment section below. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more, and I shall see you, beautiful people, in the next video.